to Up Front.
Finally!
We have been talking about doing something for the last year, and I'm so excited to have you on the show. You've been to WCLK so many times in other capacities, but you've never been on my show. So I am so happy to have you here.
Well, I feel worthy. Well, you know, we was waiting for something really, really special, and I think this is a special thing we've been waiting for. We didn't know what it was going to be, but we knew something was coming.
Something was coming. And so no time like the present to have you on the show to talk about some of the amazing things that will be happening to and through you. We've got some exciting news of a show that is premiering this week on BET Plus. We're talking about Bruh.
Bruh. Yes. Yes.
So let's talk about
May 7th.
Yeah, let's talk about the show. Tell us a little bit about the show and about your character.
Well, you know, it's really about the close relationship between these four guys. And one of the guys is my son.
Okay.
You have a doctor, you have a lawyer, you have an architect, and you have a sandwich shop owner.
Okay.
And you have a doctor.
Yeah.
So the sandwich shop owner is my son.
Okay.
And his name is John. And John, you know, is one of those down-to-earth, you know, good guys, you know. Not that the rest of the guys aren't good, but he's he's the mama's boy.
Yeah. And I've seen the promos. I've enjoyed First of all, you look amazing in the promos. It was shot so beautifully. Everybody looks so good. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's what I love about it, because one thing about Tyler Perry is that he loves some Black folks. And he makes sure that we're lit, that we're colorful, that, you know, we're who we are. We're at our best, you know. Absolutely. So I like that too. I love the look of it myself.
Yeah. Let's tell us a little bit about your character. What's her name? Well,
her name is Alice. And of course, that's John's mother. Okay. And I called her the 3 S's.
Okay.
Sassy, sexy, and speaks her mind.
Okay.
So I get a chance to have so much fun with her. And John is always like, Mom, really? Because he doesn't know what she's going to do. Right. Because she's uninhibited. She loves life. And she loves men. And John's like, look, I grew up with these guys, you know, but I'm just like, you know, and they're not my sons. And so I love the fact that Tyler gave me a chance to show another kind of dimension in my characters. And so I kind of say she's like a young Miss V, but on steroids. So,
but she's a little different than what we've seen in the past. And I remember having, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name right now. She plays Aunt Vi on Queen Sugar, but it's being to Tina Lifford. There we go. Tina Lifford had talked about one of the reasons why she loved the Aunt Vi character was because we do not get to see women of a certain age being sexy, speaking their mind, saying, you know, just living. And so to be able to play a character like her, I'm sure you're having the time of your life.
I am, because I never thought that would happen, because that's so true. You know, they're going to give you the mother, the grandmother, and you can be all of that, but they forget that you're a woman and that you're a sexual being too. And so I loved it when I read it, because Tyler kept saying, okay, now she a little, you know, spicy. So as I read the script, I was like, oh, really? But I was having so much fun at it. And even to the point that I don't think, even though he believed that I would do the role, because as a matter of fact, I was the first one that was cast. Okay. And he said, I heard your voice, you know, and it was like some of the scenes, when I would do the scenes, I would kind of almost see him blushing, like, I'm just not used to seeing you like this, you know? I said, but you're a big boy, you can take it.
Yeah. Speaking of Tyler Perry, you have worked with him. You guys have had such a great working relationship over years now, going into decades. What is it about working with Tyler that when he comes calling, you say, yes, I'll do it?
Because, I mean, he sees me, and, you know, like sometimes people want to use some of you. but when he saw me, he wanted to use everything I had. And that, of course, that makes you like, I want to work with you because you'll even help me grow within the person that I am, because you probably see more than I see. And that's what I loved about working with him. He trusted me so many times. And even in this role, he trusted me. And that was the one thing that I said when I saw him. I said, thank you for trusting me with this, because it is a role that he's never written a role for me like this, but he trusted that I could do it. And that means he saw something. And it's so easy. I understand him. He reminds me of a jazz. I told him that. He reminded me of a jazz musician. The way he improvises and what he does and how he's creative on the spot. And he speaks in that moment because he pays attention to a lot of the pop culture. Right. And his ears are to the streets. And so that's what I love about him. He creates in the moment and he allows you to be creative. And that's why he reminds me of jazz so much.
Yeah. Speaking of jazz, are we going to hear you perform? Are you going to be performing? Or will this character be performing on the show since you have such an amazing voice?
Well, I do have a little a surprise part in there. Okay. But what I love about it is that, you know, we're praying we get another season because the guy that plays my son is a musician.
Ah, okay.
And so I said, you know, he's going to have to put this together some kind of way. And so we're going to push him for that. But I do get a little part that was in there. And there was another situation where it was like, you know, just all of a sudden, Ted was like, do this. Yeah. And it was like, bam, there. And you have to like be prepared for that, you know, working with him. You can't just be stuck like, this is what we're going to do, da, 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 da. Because as he see it, he'll, you know, he has the skeleton, but as he puts the meat on the body, he begins to see what it looks like. Right. And then you have to do something else. But yeah, I'm hoping that Alice kind of does her a thing. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
You getting some tweets there? Is that?
Yeah, that's just, you know, I'm just like, no, did not expect that. But I'm good. I'm good.
Influences. Roy Ayers. You share a very special bond with him. Let's talk about that and what it was like. Wait a minute. You know what? Actually, hold up. I'm having a little technical. Hold on a minute. I'm having a technical. Hold on. I think we're being invaded here.
Oh no.
We've got. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, is that TC Carson and Jones?
I saw that face. That's so dumb.
That shit out before you did this call.
Oh, this is not right. This is not right. You got me.
What's up, my people?
Oh, you got me. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Hello, beautiful men.
What's up, Ray?
So we have joining the conversation, actor extraordinaire.
What's up, Chandra Currelley, young?
And we also have director, just a Renaissance man, Mr. Thomas W. Jones, joining us here on this conversation. We're talking to Chandra Currelley. Chandra, we wanted to surprise you.
You did. Tom, you got to put Ray in one of your, because he got me. He got me good. Oh my
guys,
God.
welcome to UPFRONT. Welcome back to the show. And so good to see that you guys are doing well. You look amazing. You look healthy.
I look like Rafiki from Lion King. Leave me alone.
He's looking like what? Looking like Simba? Oh, look at TC.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, TC.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna start. We're gonna go all the way back if we can, and I want to start with you, Tom. Just talking about Chandra Currelley, the actress. You know, we all have seen her on television, but she got her start doing theater here in Atlanta. You know, you were there at the very, very beginning, starting with Jamandi Productions, in which Chandra Currelley was a part of that great theater company here in Atlanta. Talk about the magic of Chandra Currelley as the actress.
Well, I have to even predate that and go back to the magic of Chandra Currelley on stage. And the first time I became a huge, huge fan was at an old jazz club called Walter Mitty's. And I remember sitting in, well, even before that, there was a place on Piedmont and they did a show. I think she, Bernadine Mitchell, and Jerome Olds did something called Heart and Soul. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Chandra.
You're right.
Was that Heart and Soul?
That was it.
Huh?
It was a cabaret. Yeah,
Okay.
Heart and Soul.
And I remember sitting there. I had just moved to Atlanta. Maybe this was 1977, 78, and was watching she, Bernadine, and Jerome Olds on stage, and it was like fire. I sat there with my mother and my two sisters, and we looked at each other and said, "Who are these?" And we just came down from from New York, so we knew the capital of entertainment. You know, nothing going to happen in Atlanta that was going to surpass anything we saw in New York. And we said, "Oh, excuse me, let me eat my little humble biscuit right here." They were, I mean, the stage was fire. And from that moment, I knew it's like if I ever get, and I was just graduating from school, getting ready to come out and start theater. And so if I ever get a chance to work with that diva, you know, not only will I sign up, but I'll wait in line until she blesses us with the opportunity to do so. So fast forward a couple of years later, or maybe a year later, I'm in Walter Mitty's watching and said, wow, she was even more magical, because then she was part of a trio. Then watching just her as a solo artist and a solo performer being backed by a band, it was like, this is just magic, you know. And we actually sat in the corner at Walter Mitty's, and I said, if you allow me to, I will write a project for you. And she said, sure. And we would sit in the corner and talk about this Dinah Washington project. And we would talk and talk. And at some point, schedules just didn't work out. And so it's like, I'm still not through. I'm going to write this piece for you. And we came up with a piece called Slam years later. But even before that, we had done Sophisticated Lady. And the thing about Chandra is, and I think of any great artist, and I'm also sitting in the midst of T.C. Carson, who I also consider to be a great artist. Is they do two things. One, they know how to listen. You know, Strasberg said it takes 10 years for an actor to be a good actor, because it takes about 10 years for them to figure out how to listen. That up until that point, you're so preoccupied with yourself and your ego and 1,000 other things that you can't respond, you know, intuitively and truthfully. Doesn't mean that you don't act for 10 years, but that's about when you begin to come into your own. And I think what both of them do, and particularly Chandra, is one, they listen really well. You know, whether you're giving them directing, or whether they've even listening to music, Chandra would always stop and go, no, just play that. Let me hear what that is. And it's like, well, no, we need you to say, no, I need to hear it first. Let me hear what that is. Then I'll come back behind and do something to it. But I'm not going to just step out there just, you know, doing something that's just going to be
ass out.
Yeah, just to be singing or acting. No, let me hear what this is. Let me hear what this is first before I kill that. And she interprets, and you see it, and all of a sudden the lights go on, and it may not be that day, maybe the next day she comes back and you go, yeah, there it is, which is what great artists do. And then the sad thing, and I'll shut up, is it's one thing to have talent, it's another thing to know craft. And too many people don't know the craft of either music, the craft of theater, the craft of acting, the craft of performing. Anybody can hit it one time. You can hit it on a Tuesday and Wednesday and be wonderful, and come back Friday and it's like, what happened? It's the craft.
Look at that fool back to the back.
It's the person that can marry, you know, inspiration, perspiration, and craft that is the enduring artist. And certainly in both of them, and particularly with Chandra, that's always been my experience. And she has enough ego to bring herself into the room, but not enough ego that makes her want to leave.